Welcome to the Southern Arizona Transportation Museum. Conceived in the year 2000, the museum opened on March 20th, 2005, the 125th anniversary of the first train's arrival here in Tucson. Honoring America's railroad industry, the museum shares, preserves, and celebrates railroad men and women across the nation and here in Southern Arizona, hosting community festivals such as the Silver Spike Jubilee.
Well, good morning. All right, now look, this is the time for theatrics, okay? Audience participation. When I wave my flag, I want you to wave your flag and say, yay! All right, you got that? Yay! Seal, you know. Okay, my name is R.N. Leatherwood Walkup, and I'm the mayor of this great territory in 1980. I'd like to address a little bit of 1880. Sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you this morning filled with pride, for today this miraculous locomotive reached Tucson, the center of Arizona. As your mayor, I have sent abroad on your behalf telegrams to the President Hayes of the United States of America. Territorial Governor John Fremont and the mayors of Yuma and San Francisco. Yes. And among those was the Bishop Salpointe. And I have also dispatched to His Holiness the Pope of Rome, Italy, the grand news of our wonderment. I have a response. His Holiness the Pope acknowledges with appreciation the receipt of your telegram informing him that the ancient city of Tucson at last has been connected by rail with the outside world and sends his benediction. But for his own satisfaction, he asks, where the hell is Tucson? Oh, that's it. Now, I cannot tell you how long I worked the timing of that event right there. We practiced and practiced and practiced. All right, now we did this last year. Does everybody know how we do these proclamations? We have whereas, right? So when I say whereas, I want you to say whereas, all right? Whereas. All right, here we go. Whereas the Southern Arizona Transportation Museum, a nonprofit organization, is dedicated to promoting the historical education and preservation of transportation in Southern Arizona, and whereas Tucsonans, as well as millions across the rest of the United States and around the world, share a deep interest in the history of railroading and wish to learn more about it. And whereas Southern Arizona Transportation Museum carries on the tradition of celebrating the anniversary of the arrival of the first railroad to Tucson, this year's festive actions with a gala celebration on this day of the railroad as it arrived in 1880. And whereas the Southern Arizona Transportation Museum recognizes the importance of the railroad to the economy and cultural development of Tucson, and therefore designates Tucson as a railroad city for this event, and therefore I now... Well done, Seal. She's leading this of the front row up here. Proclaim March 20th as Railroad Day in this community and encourage all of our citizens to join the planned festivities on this 129th anniversary of the railroad arriving in Tucson. Hallelujah, Tucson. Hey.
Good morning, in this first day of spring, March 20th, 2009. We make a living by what we earn, but we make a life by what we give, our legacy. And for one person that's sitting in front of me, if I can just put her on the spot, everyone knows her in the city. She's an icon, and she had his centennial birthday, and I just want her to just to say hello. I don't want to embarrass you, Seal. I just want to, if I can get the mic to you.
Sure. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ken. And what a privilege it is to be a participant in this wonderful event. Thank you, honey. It is a privilege.
Thank you. So nice to see Seal here.
the Holiday Express, and Tucson's birthday, the museum provides free opportunities for people all across the community. Nonprofit and free admission, come join us at the Southern Arizona Transportation Museum. Come with me now as we take a look inside our exhibit hall. The museum's story starts with the earliest settlements of Tucson in southern Arizona. All of our exhibits are bilingual in Spanish and English. Here we have the king of the castle, the master of the railroad ceremonies, the commander of the train, the conductor. While most people know the conductor's ticket-taking job, not all understand the responsibility for the train's safe and rapid transit lies with the conductor. The conductor holds his watch to ensure his train runs on time. During the steam age, the railroad company demanded the conductor check his watch at a jeweler's on a regular basis. Here we have our iron art display. Tools section gang workers use to construct the roadbed, lay and repair rails and ties on different sections of the track. The SP provided housing for workers and their families in each section. Grueling physical toil in all weather, folklore and songs flourished around the demanding gandy dancer's job. This gorgeous bronze statue was donated by Dr. George and Chrissy Sokol, a part of the Jane Dorgan collection. Robert Dorgan created the 1920s diorama of the Tucson Depot. Museum docent Randy Hill's fabulous collection of dining car china, Dinner in the Diner, highlights our central cabinet display. Dining car service during the golden age of passenger travel was a fabulous experience. Fashionably attired guests filled well-appointed dining rooms to enjoy sumptuous cuisine on fine china, as rail lines competed to match New York City's Delmonico's restaurant. In the early days of railroading, the telegraph key provided the only means of communication to give orders to the train crew. Every job on the railroad was crucial to the safe and smooth running of the trains. Here at the museum, you'll hear real engineers and conductors talk about their role.
The summer of 1881 was memorable in these parts. Heavy storms east of Tucson washed out sections of railroad track. Trains couldn't come through from the east, so mail couldn't come through either. That disturbed the local business owners and the bankers pretty bad.
Changed Tucson and southern Arizona in a multitude of ways. The trip to Los Angeles that took 8 days was cut to less than 2 and a third of the cost. Freight shipments that normally took 3 to 4 weeks arrived in 4 or 5 days. One of the most resounding changes in southern Arizona that the railroad brought was in the field of mining. Trains delivered heavy equipment and machinery to mines much more quickly and shipped out tons of ore to smelters all across the Southwest. Trains brought people from all over the world to southern Arizona. Tucson's fantastic climate made this a place to come in the Southwest. One of the features that children and adults alike will love here in the Southern Arizona Transportation Museum is our G-scale, garden-scale railroad that runs around the top of the exhibit hall. Southern Arizona Railroad story is told all along the walls of the museum, from the decline of the railroads and passenger service to the coming of Amtrak in 1971. On the central part of our cabinet tremendous contribution to the building of the railroad across southern Arizona, and the museum is proud to highlight that heritage. In addition, our computer simulator allows teens and preteens to try and operate a real engine on a computer. One of the exciting new donations that the museum has received is this 1915 10-gauge shotgun used on stagecoaches and railroads. Donated by Mayor Robert Walker, instrumental in the development of the Southern Arizona Transportation Museum. Many thanks to Mayor Bob, and look for an interview with him on our Facebook page. Now come on into our modest gift shop with modest prices. We've got railroad items for everyone. Toy trains, books, t-shirts for adults and children, and lots more here at the Southern Arizona Transportation Gift Shop. And now I'd like to introduce Dr. Ken Carroll, the chairman of the management committee of the museum. Dr. Ken, I understand you're going to share with people information about historic locomotive number 1673.
Thank you, Bill. Locomotive 1673, a Mogul 260 type engine, was built by Schenectady Locomotive Works in 1900 and logged over 1 million miles for the Southern Pacific Railroad Company. Primarily it was used in southern Arizona. In 1955, it was donated to the city of Tucson to mark the 75th anniversary of the arrival of the railroad to the community. It was listed on the National Register of Historical Places in 1992. You can come up and get inside the cab. We now have a stairwell, thanks to Fletcher McCusker. Locomotive area was not air conditioned. It get awfully hot and going through Yuma. And this was coal-fired and then converted to oil. It's a little easier to burn oil and less water stops as well. And again, you have the locomotive, as far as you can see, very little through the glass window. You can understand why it's important to stay off the tracks. But take a look, come on down, and you'll see the details of what went into making this compilation of mechanics, plumbing, engineering.
On March 20th, 1955, a crowd of 10,000 Tucsonans braved rain and cold weather to celebrate the Southern Pacific Railroad's 75th anniversary. That day, the railroad donated historic locomotive 1673 to the city. That June, the locomotive moved to the Arizona Historical Society, where it remained for 7 years. Then it was moved to Himmel Park, where children played on it for decades. In December of 2000, the locomotive was moved again trackside at Tucson's historic depot. It now sits under the guardianship of the museum. Thanks to the cooperation and support of local agent Armida Leyva and Amtrak, the museum has been able to expand their collection display area into the historic depot lobby. Come with me there now. This depot, built in 1907 to replace an old wooden structure, remodeled in 1941 and again in the 2000s. The depot now serves as an icon of Tucson history. Inside the depot lobby, you'll see the West End Yuma to Tucson Central Traffic Control Board, the CTC board, along with artwork of Maynard Dixon, famous Western artist. His lunettes hung in the depot in 1907. When the depot was remodeled in 1941, those lunettes were donated to the city of Tucson. Declays of those beautiful paintings now hang here in our historic lobby.
Welcome. This is the Amtrak station in Tucson. approximately 28,000 people come through visiting from New Orleans, Chicago, or Los Angeles. Station also acts as a extension of the museum, and you'll see the historic art pieces as well as the central traffic control system. Let's take a look. The photographs that you see above the door were taken, first one 1941, and then later 1942. The depot served thousands of people. This was a place where people could go off to war, or honeymoon. I'm told that Franklin Delano Roosevelt, President Roosevelt, made a tour around the country, and he did have to stop here, and he had to do some work on his private car that led the Secret Service people to a little nerve-wracking day. This is just one of many presidents who stopped here. The lady that you see on top of the locomotive, that's taken right after the movie Oklahoma. You can see the locomotive 1673 smokestack is called a balloon stack or bonnet. And as you go around, and you see the Maynard-Dixons, and these are cheap plays or copies of the originals.
Famed Western artist Maynard Dixon painted 4 lunettes for the Southern Pacific Railroad in 1907 to fill the arches in Tucson's newly built depot's western waiting room. Depicting key features of Arizona, Dixon painted the Apache, the cattleman, prospector, and the painting that was lost, irrigation, showing a farmer hoeing his corn.
See the central traffic control system on the west end. As far as traffic was being controlled, switches diverted from the main to the sideline. Gentleman sat behind that big board and controlled and set the motion and the time.
Union Pacific locomotive number 4014 made its great race across the Southwest in 2019. Through the sterling efforts of Dr. Ken Carrolls, chairman of the management committee of the Southern Arizona Transportation Museum, the locomotive stopped at Tucson's historic depot, and thousands of Tucsonans swarmed the platform to get a close look at the great steam locomotive.
Here, you can have your birthday party or your corporate events. It's one way of helping the museum and helping yourself. You can also purchase a brick, a legacy brick with your family name on it. You can purchase a Jim Click ticket, maybe with a nice brand new 2020 Ford. So come on down, and we'll hope to see you down here at the locomotive and the depot and the museum.